Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're journeying back in time to the windswept steppes of 12th century Mongolia. This is the story of a boy named Temujin, who would rise from the ashes of betrayal and hardship to become one of history's most formidable figures, the great Genghis Khan. How did one man unite scattered warring tribes and forge an empire that would stretch from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe? It's a tale of brilliant strategy, ruthless ambition, and a vision that would forever change the world. So, grab your virtual saddle, because we're about to ride alongside the man who built the largest contiguous land empire in history. Our story begins around 1162. Temujin was born into a noble but not particularly powerful family. His father, Yesugei, was a minor chieftain who arranged a marriage for his young son, but tragedy struck early. When Temujin was just 9 years old, his father was poisoned by a rival tribe, the Tatars. Suddenly, his family was abandoned by their clan, left to fend for themselves on the harsh, unforgiving steppe. These were brutal years. Temujin and his family survived by eating roots, hunting small animals, and enduring extreme poverty. He was captured by a rival clan and forced to wear a wooden collar, a symbol of humiliation and slavery. But even as a prisoner, the fire of defiance burned within him, and he escaped, a daring act that began to build his reputation for courage and resourcefulness. These early experiences didn't break him, they forged him. They taught him the value of loyalty, the pain of betrayal, and the harsh realities of power. As a young man, Temujin began to gather followers. He wasn't just a warrior, he was a natural leader who understood people. He forged a critical alliance with a powerful chieftain named Togrul, a friend of his late father, and also with his childhood blood brother Jamuka. Together, they rescued his wife, Berta, who had been kidnapped by the Merkit tribe. This successful rescue mission dramatically increased his prestige and the number of warriors flocking to his banner. But Temujin's vision was bigger than just personal revenge or small-scale battles. He saw a Mongol people fractured by endless internal conflict, and he dreamed of uniting them. This ambition put him on a collision course with his old friend Jamuka, who favored the traditional aristocratic system. Temujin, on the other hand, promoted a meritocracy. He valued skill and loyalty above bloodlines. The best man for the job got the job, whether he was a high-born noble or a lowly shepherd. This revolutionary idea attracted many to his cause. The rivalry between Temujin and Jamuka escalated into open warfare. After a series of complex battles and shifting alliances, Temujin emerged victorious. By 1206, he had defeated or absorbed all major rival tribes on the Mongolian plateau. A great council, a Kurultai, was called. There, the united tribes proclaimed him Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. The Mongol nation was born. Now, as Genghis Khan, he set about organizing his new nation. He created a written legal code known as the Yasa, which covered everything from property theft to adultery, promoting discipline and order. He established a writing system for the Mongolian language. But his most revolutionary creation was his military. The Mongol army was a masterpiece of organization and discipline. But it was Genghis Khan's strategy that was truly genius. He was a master of psychological warfare. He would often offer cities the chance to surrender peacefully. If they accepted, they were spared and incorporated into the empire. If they resisted, the Mongols would show no mercy, making an example of them to terrify the next city into submission. He also used deception, feigned retreats to lure enemies into traps, and sophisticated siegecraft, adopting new technologies from the engineers of the cultures he conquered. His campaigns were meticulously planned, using an extensive network of spies and scouts to gather intelligence before any invasion. With his united people and his reformed army, Genghis Khan looked beyond Mongolia. His first major campaigns were against the Tangut Kingdom of Western Xia and the Jin dynasty in northern China. These were not mere raids. They were invasions of powerful, settled civilizations. The Mongols, once considered nomadic barbarians, proved they could conquer fortified cities and defeat massive armies. Then, his gaze turned west. A trade caravan sent by Genghis Khan to the powerful Khwarezmian Empire in modern-day Central Asia was attacked and its merchants killed. This was a grave insult. Enraged, Genghis Khan unleashed the full might of the Mongol horde. What followed was one of the most devastating invasions of the era. Great cities like Samarkand and Bukhara, centers of learning and culture, were utterly destroyed. The Mongol conquest was brutal. There is no denying the immense destruction and loss of life. Yet, it's also a more complex story. Once conquered, the territories were incorporated into a system that brought a period of unprecedented stability, often called the Pax Mongolica, or the Mongol Peace. Genghis Khan's empire secured the Silk Road, the ancient network of trade routes connecting east and west. For the first time in centuries, merchants and travelers could journey from China to Europe with relative safety. This reinvigorated trade and led to an incredible exchange of goods, ideas, technologies, and cultures. Gunpowder, the printing press, the compass, all made their way from east to west along these protected routes. He was also surprisingly tolerant of different religions. Within his empire, Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists were generally free to practice their faith. He understood that a vast, multicultural empire could not be governed by forcing a single belief system on everyone. He valued skilled artisans, engineers, and administrators, regardless of their origin, and would often relocate them across the empire to where their skills were most needed. In 1227, during a final campaign against the Western Shia, Genghis Khan died. The exact cause of his death remains a mystery. Some say it was from injuries sustained falling from a horse, others from illness. His burial site was kept a closely guarded secret, and to this day, it has never been found. But his legacy was secure. At the time of his death, the Mongol Empire was already 4 times the size of Alexander the Great's empire. His sons and grandsons like Ögedei, Mungke, and the famous Kublai Khan would continue his conquests, expanding the empire even further, reaching Poland, Hungary, and the gates of Vienna in the west, and establishing the Yuan dynasty in China. So, how do we remember Genghis Khan? As a merciless conqueror who brought terror and destruction, or as a visionary leader who united a people, created a legal code, and established an era of unprecedented trade and communication? The truth, as it often is in history, lies somewhere in the complex middle. He was a product of a harsh and violent world, and he used its methods to rise to the top. But he also possessed a genius for organization, a revolutionary approach to leadership, and a global vision that was centuries ahead of its time. He didn't just conquer the world, he connected it. The empire he built reshaped the map and set the stage for the modern world in ways we are still understanding today. What do you think is the most significant part of Genghis Khan's legacy? Let me know in the comments below. His story is a powerful reminder that history is rarely black and white, and its most impactful figures are often its most controversial. Thanks so much for joining me on this historical journey. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more epic stories from the past, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll see you in the next one.